Welcome to my channel. My name is Cynthia and you're watching Mountain Accent Sewing. Today I am joining in the fun of the hashtag 20 sewing questions. I've seen other people share their answers and thought it looked like a lot of fun. I enjoyed hearing all about their answers, and I hope you'll stay tuned if you want to hear my answers. That was a little bit of a tongue twister. This hashtag and these questions were created by Annette at Sewing in Michigan. I was not familiar with her channel. I first saw Theresa at Lost My Thread post her answers, and she shared Annette's link, so I went and checked it out. And I've also watched Diann at Silver Thread Sewing, one of my good friends that I've met through the sewing community, and then I've went on to watch several other people. And I know if you search the hashtag 20 sewing questions, you'll find lots of other sewing YouTubers, and you may find someone that you're not familiar with. So go check out that hashtag. And if you have found my channel through this hashtag, I hope that you will stay around, click subscribe, and follow me on my sewing journey. I'd love to have you join me. So let's get into the questions. Question number 1, how do you feel about using a new pattern? I have to say, I actually love sewing new patterns. I get bored if I make the same thing over and over, even though I do have a few TNT patterns, like the Friday Pattern Company Donnie shirt. I've made several of those. And then like this is a Natalia Jupe Lynn caftan top, and I've made a dress and a couple of tops, and it's a great pattern. I have the Natalia Jupe Leah dress that I've made a couple of times. So I have a few that I've gone back and repeated, but for the most part, I like trying new patterns, and I like trying new pattern designers. Question number 2, do you remake or mend? I am not very good at upcycling. I did take a dress that I made back at the beginning of my sewing journey, that where my invisible sip was not invisible, it was visible, and I think I'd even used pinkin shears to finish the seam. So that was like very early on, just a few years ago, when I was beginning sewing, and I loved the dress, but it didn't fit me anymore. And so I cut it up and made it into a bag, but I'm not good at upcycling garments and making them into other garments. Now I do mend, so like if I have a button that pops off, I don't mind sewing it on, or like if I have a little hole trying to patch it. But most of the mending that I have done has been for my husband, Brian, and my son, Kenny. Brian has asked me to him, I can't tell you how many number of pants that he wants shortened. And then Kenny is usually wanting me to patch holes. So that's most of the mending that I get done. I don't really enjoy it. Number 3, do you make toiles or mock-ups? I do not enjoy doing toiles or mock-ups. However, I have done that maybe once or twice, and I'm actually planning on doing a toile for a garment this month. I'm doing a collab with Emma at MK Sews, and I'm going to be tracing the pattern. It's a brand new pattern company to me that I've never sewn before, and it has princess seams for the bust, and I do want to at least do a toile of the bodice. So I will do it if I have to, but no, for the most part, I'm not going to do it. I just cut straight into my fabric. Number 4, how do you feel about pre-washing fabric? Pre-washing fabric is a must. I don't always do it when I first get the fabric, but it always gets pre-washed and dried before I cut it and sew it. I have still had a couple of garments before that I have made that I pre-washed, and I dried it too, that still shrank after I made the garment, and I do not like that. I want to know that I've already pre-shrunk it as much as it's going to pre-shrink before I sew a garment so that it will, um, you know, still fit. Now, I do wash my fabrics on cool temperature, and I use the very lowest heat setting in the dryer. And I do that routinely for all my clothes. It doesn't matter what it is. Um, yeah, I just do the low heat for the dryer and cool water for washing. Number 5, do you finish your seams and how do you finish them? Yes, I do finish my seams. For the most part, I use an overlocker. I didn't always own one, so prior to that, I would use a zigzag stitch or pinking shears. But since I purchased the overlocker, which I think is a great investment, um, I've never looked back. I use that all of the time. And yeah, I just love the sound of whizzing a piece of fabric through the overlocker. Yeah, it just brings me a lot of joy. And what is your favorite sewing activity? Question number 6. That is a tough one because there's several things that I really enjoy. I just mentioned that I love whizzing things through the overlocker, but I also like sewing buttonholes. And I don't, now I've not always enjoyed sewing buttonholes, but this sewing machine that's behind me, that's my Singer Quantum Stylus, it does fabulous buttonholes. And it's so satisfying when you sew one and it just turns out exactly how you want it. But now I have had buttonholes that I've used like my other sewing machine for, and they didn't turn out. And boy, that is just the opposite. It's like you get so frustrated when your buttonhole doesn't work. Yeah. So, yeah, that is my favorite sewing activity. I just love doing buttonholes. And your least sewing activity, question number 7. And I I was thinking about my least favorite sewing activity the other day, and I'm drawing a blank right now because I think I have one or two that are not favorites. Um, I know what it is. I dislike sewing bias binding in a neckline or the arm side. I love doing bias binding on the hemline, but for some reason, especially the arm side, I never can get it quite right. So, hoping practice makes perfect, that I will get better, but so far, all of mine looks a little bit on the shady side. That is my least favorite sewing activity. Number 8, do you sew your stashed fabric or new fabric? Now, on this one, I actually do both. When I'm thinking about a pattern that I want to make, now this also leads you into another question, is like, do you pick the pattern first or the fabric first? And I do some of both. So if I have a pattern that I want to make, I will first look in my stash to see if I have the right kind of fabric and the right length. And then if I don't, then I try to source new fabric. So I don't just automatically rush out to buy new fabric. But I do enjoy buying fabric, and I have to sometimes restrain myself. Okay, where are we? Number 9, are pockets a must? No, pockets are not a must, but it also depends on the garment. If I'm making pants or shorts, definitely have to have pockets. Now, like my Lander shorts I have on now, I have front pockets and hip pockets, but with those I don't always have to have the hip pockets. But the more pockets on a pair of pants or shorts, the better the pants are. Now, if it's a dress, pockets are optional. They're nice, but I don't have to have them. And I don't wear a lot of skirts. I don't think they look as good on me, but the skirts that I do own have pockets. Um, yeah. So, moving on to number 10, knits or woven. This is a tough one. I have some knit patterns that I really love making. But I guess overall, I'm going to go with woven because I love sewing viscose and I love sewing linen and I love sewing denim. And yeah, they're all woven garments or they're all woven fabrics. And yeah, so I'm going to go with woven. Number 11, favorite fasteners or no fasteners. Again, I think this depends on the garment, but it goes back to my love sewing buttonholes. I like buttons. And yeah, I don't mind doing a zip occasionally, but I prefer buttons if a garment needs a fastener. Number 12, do you prefer sewing for yourself or for others? I'm selfish. I like sewing for myself. I have made garments for my son, and I always enjoy making them for him because he appreciates the things that I make. But I do not want to make things for other people if they don't appreciate it. Now, I've had people ask me to alter things for them, and I usually say no. I have made some alterations for a couple of people, but it's been minor alterations. But no, I do not typically sew garments for other people. Number 13, do you prefer YouTube or Instagram? I prefer YouTube. I have Instagram only because I do follow quite a few people to see what they're making, and then I know that you can search for like a dress or a top or pants if you want to see what a certain pattern looks like on other people, and that's great. But I find that, well, Instagram's not as bad as Facebook, but on those platforms, you see a lot of feed from people that you or advertisers or people you don't know or want to or you care to see. And so I feel like I get a lot of junk when I am not always the content that I want to see. Whereas YouTube, I can usually find who I'm looking for, or go to my subscriber list and find videos that I'm wanting to see and watch the people that I want to watch. And I do better at, I think, vlogging than I do posting on Instagram too, because I don't always post all my makes over on Instagram. Number 14, dresses or separates. I like dresses over separates. And yeah, I love a good dress. They're a lot of fun. And now I am one of those people that I feel like when I wear a dress, I should dress it up and not wear it as much casually. And I'm trying to get out of that mindset because I see other people wearing their dresses with their tennis shoes and they look great, but I'm not one of those people that I feel awkward when I'm trying to dress it down. So I like wearing dresses with sandals and dressing it up. So definitely dresses. Number 15, how do you get rid of or pass on me makes? I have had a few things that I have made. I made a beautiful paisley Friday Pattern Company water top that I absolutely loved. And that was back when I was early on in my sewing journey and didn't take my measurements correctly. And even though the sewing was impeccable, I even did French seams. It was too small. And so I just asked someone that I knew that was smaller than me that I was like, and they were always complimenting me on how I look. And I said, would you like to have this blouse? And she took it. I don't know if she wears it, but she said she loved it, so hopefully she's wearing it. But that's typically what I have done is I just, if someone has commented on liking something that I wear, and then I have something that I think might fit them, I just ask them if they want it. And um, I don't know if the thrift stores near me takes handmade garments. And the other things, I think I might have a few things in my wardrobe that I don't wear that I've made, but I still have them. And so I'm not sure about that one. Number 16, quick sew or involved sew. And here I like to mix it up. I like to have an involved sews intermingled with some quick sews. And I feel like this lately I've been doing a little bit more of the involved make, so I'm due a quick sew. Um, yeah, I need to come up with an idea for a quick sew. um, Number 17, social sewing or solitary. Well, I like, well, that's a hard one to answer because I would like to have more social sewing in my life, but I find it tricky. Um, it is a solitary hobby. I tend to sew by myself, but when I'm sewing, I'm usually watching some of you guys out there, some of the other sewing YouTubers. So I feel like you're with me, even though I'm not necessarily talking to you. And I have joined in on a couple of um, lives, and one of them I found that I was talking more and sewing less. And on the other one, I did get some sewing done, but I still enjoyed the chit chat. And I'm trying to remember what it's called. Thready Set Go, is that the name of Sew Haley Jane's new um, venture? She had a free workshop on a Saturday, and the timing just worked out where I could join in. And it was actually one of the platforms that I think I would really enjoy doing more of. It's just that I noticed on the when if you pay for it, it's typically offered on days where I'm at work because of the time zone difference. And let's see, number 18. Do you have a dedicated sewing space? I do not. Well, I mean, yes, and I don't. I have this tiny space in my bedroom, but it's not like a room. But I don't have to like sew at the dining room table, even though sometimes I do carry my sewing machine and sew at the dining room table. So I just have this very small dedicated space, but it is in my bedroom. Number 19, labels or no labels. Now this is another one where I think it totally depends on the garment. I've been trying to add labels into more of my garments, but I either forget sometimes, or like the Nomi dress I just made, it could be wore with the V in the front or the V in the back. And so it's like I didn't know where to put the label because it really didn't have a front or a back. But sometimes it's great to have that label so you know which side is the back. I like this top, I do have a label in the back, even though you can tell this is the front. But they're just fun. So yeah, I like to do labels when I can or when I remember. Number 20, percentage of me-made garments versus ready-to-wear garments. That one is, I'm not sure. I'm trying to build my me-made wardrobe, and I tend to wear my me-made garments more than I used to. I have enough to where I can wear them more. But like, since I wear a uniform to work, I'm wearing ready to wear. So I still say that my me-made wardrobe is probably only around 25%, but I'm working on building it up to where I can increase that to, at least 50%. Maybe by next year I'll be up to 50%. This concludes my answers for the 20 sewing questions. If you've enjoyed it, please click like and comment below and let me know what's your favorite sewing activity or your least favorite sewing activity. I'd love to hear your answers. And go check out some of the other people that are creating videos under this hashtag, hashtag 20 sewing questions. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you later.